You know, whenever we talk about what makes a computer fast or powerful, our brains immediately jump to one thing: the CPU, the processor. But there's this unsung hero working behind the scenes, this huge, complex circuit board that actually makes everything else possible. So today, we're finally going to pull back the curtain on the motherboard.
And think about it this way, right? We always praise the brain for being smart for its processing power. But what good is a brain if it doesn't have a nervous system to carry its commands? So, yeah, if the CPU is the brain, then what's that critical network that connects it to, well, everything else? And there it is. The motherboard is that spinal cord. It's the central nervous system of your entire machine. It's not doing the thinking, but it makes absolutely sure that every single command, every piece of information gets exactly where it needs to go when it needs to get there. Without it, you just have a useless box full of disconnected parts. To really get a handle on what it does, I find it helps to imagine the motherboard as the entire foundation and infrastructure of a big, bustling city. It's basically providing 4 essential services that keep that whole city running. First, it's the physical structure. The actual land and the building foundations, where every component is going to live. Second, it builds all the connections, all the roads and phone lines between those buildings. Third, it distributes power. It's the city's entire electrical grid. And finally, it handles signaling, acting like the city's traffic control system, making sure data flows smoothly and doesn't just crash into itself. So let's stick with that city metaphor for a bit. Let's take a little tour. Every single major component inside your computer has a very specific place it needs to plug into, a dedicated district on the motherboard that's designed just for it. Okay, so here's our city map. Now, at first glance, I know, it looks like a crazy, chaotic mess of lines and slots and ports, but it is an incredibly organized system. Let's zoom in and check out some of the most important districts. First up, we've got the most important building in the entire city, City Hall. This right here is the CPU socket. It's where the brain of the whole operation, the processor, gets installed. It's often called a ZIF socket, that stands for Zero Insertion Force. And that's because you literally just place the CPU in gently and a little lever locks it down. It prevents any damage to those hundreds of tiny, delicate pins. Now, right next door to City Hall, you're always going to find these long slots. These are the DIMM slots. If the CPU is the city's brain, think of these as the city's short-term libraries, or maybe the main offices. This is where your RAM, your random access memory, lives, and it holds all the data the computer is actively working with right now for super fast access. Okay, next up we have the PCI slots, and you can think of these as the specialty workshops of our city. This is how a computer gets new skills, new capabilities. You can pop in powerful new hardware, like a graphics card or GPU for gaming, or maybe a high-end sound card for making music, or a Wi-Fi card to get on the network. And to round out our little tour, we've got the SATA ports. These are the connections to the city's long-term warehouses, the archives. This is where you plug in your hard drives and solid-state drives, the places where all your files, your games, your programs, and your operating system are stored permanently. So we have all our city districts, but how do they actually talk to each other? I mean, how does information get from those storage warehouses to the RAM libraries and then over to the CPU City Hall? Well, it travels on a really complex network of roads. In the world of computers, this network is called a bus. Now, a bus isn't just a physical wire. It's the entire communication system. It's the hardware, the pathway, and all the rules of the road that let different parts of the computer exchange information with each other.
And there are really 2 main types you should know about. You've got the internal bus, which is like the city's local road system. It connects everything that's already inside the motherboard. Then you have the external bus, which acts more like the major highways leading out of the city, connecting to external things like your USB flash drives.
And what's really cool is that every single one of these digital roads has 3 essential lanes. The data bus is the road itself. That's where the actual information is traveling. The control bus, that's like the traffic light system, coordinating all the activity. And then the power bus is like the electrical grid running right alongside the road, delivering all the energy that keeps everything going. Okay, so let's see how this all comes together when you actually press the power button. Because before the city can even start its day, before Windows or your operating system even thinks about loading, the motherboard has to run this really critical wake-up sequence.
And this is the job of the BIOS, the basic input-output system. It's a tiny piece of software that's stored on a special read-only memory chip, or a ROM chip, that's physically on the motherboard.
And because it's read-only, it's this permanent set of instructions that's always there, ready to go no matter what.
So the BIOS basically acts like a construction site foreman, showing up at the start of the day. The second you give it power, it does a quick roll call. It goes CPU, you hear? Check. RAM? Check. Keyboard? Yep, check. And only after it confirms that all the essential hardware is present and accounted for, then it gives a signal to load the main operating system from your hard drive.
And this brings us to what I think is one of the most brilliant and important concepts that the motherboard makes possible, this whole idea of modular design. See, your computer isn't one single, unchangeable machine. It's a system that's built from interchangeable building blocks.
Modular design just means that the parts, like your CPU, your RAM, your graphics card, they aren't permanently soldered onto the motherboard. They're specifically designed to be plugged in and, just as importantly, to be unplugged, replaced, and upgraded whenever you want.
This chart just perfectly illustrates how powerful that idea is. Look at this. You can take the exact same motherboard and use it as the foundation for two completely, wildly different computers. For a basic office machine, you pop in an entry-level Core i3 processor. But for an absolute monster of a gaming rig, you could install a top-of-the-line Core i7 and two high-end graphics cards. The foundation stays the same, the capabilities are just worlds apart. And this modularity is exactly why the world of PC building is so huge and so exciting. You know, if your graphics card dies, you just replace that one part. You can build a computer that's perfectly tailored to exactly what you need, whether that's editing video or just checking email. And when a faster CPU comes out in a couple of years, you can upgrade just that part without having to buy a whole new computer. It gives you, the user, so much power and flexibility. So in the end, the motherboard is the ultimate connector. It's the foundation. It's the city that our entire digital lives are built on. But this leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. As all these components, processors, memory, graphics, keep getting smaller and smaller and more integrated onto a single chip, what happens to the board itself? What will the motherboard of tomorrow even look like?